Hi. Okay, so this is probably should update this to 2023, the VOLTHA TST meeting agenda. Let's see, so we'll just go through the agenda and through some items that came up last week. And Torsten had a question down here at the bottom. We have a few updates and a few different things going on. So with the release updates, I've updated mostly the component release matrix for the different components that have been built. Oh, the heck is this? Oh, that's why. Yeah, it got renamed. So we have quite a few of the components that have actually been released now. If you go into the component column, you can actually drill down and find them on Maven Central or the GitHub downloads. Most of the information is in here. So adding on to last week, VOLTHA ONOS has been published. That was one of the major ones where all of the smaller ONOS components had to be released in a hierarchical order. Then we could update the versions and then actually publish VOLTHA ONOS. The OpenOLT and OpenONU adapters have also been released, the updates. VOLTHA docs, we've pushed out quite a few new pages and edits in there. Let me take a quick diversion. If you scroll down, you can go into the release notes. It's currently labeled as a dev release. Once all the components and versions are in, I'll bump this up to 2.11 and remove the dev notation. But a lot of the components and the artifacts are all linked to in this document. I still have a few to edit, but most of it's in there. And several merge requests were pending merge requests were merged in last week, or pull requests were merged in last week. So there are currently 3 different problems going on right now. I'm going to try and finish sorting this one out today. So BBSIM and VOLTCTL are having problems right now. The check that was added in to see if Golang was installed on machines has been removed, and that block of code is still running again. The jobs are currently failing right now on, so we have part of the release is built in a Docker image, and we have to copy files onto the Docker image, and then they're pushed to GitHub. Somewhere along the way, the release directory where files are copied out of and actually pushed up to GitHub, that currently is empty right now. Both the VOLTCTL and the BBSIM releases are affected by this. This is part of what I'm debugging right now. I did run into a problem back in December with some test coverage failures that were showing up that were very similar to this. And the underlying problem was you needed a logs directory created in the Docker image to be able to copy files around. And if the directory did not exist, basically everything failed after that point. If you see any messages in the Jenkins logs that say cannot find files under log star or no logs available, things of that nature, that's a symptom of that problem. I fixed it in one repository, but there's a couple of other places to fix it. In addition to this, there's a problem in the VOLTHA Helm charts. So lint targets have been added in each of the makefiles to syntax check several different languages. We can do JSON, YAML, shell scripts, and there's also some logic in there to sanity check the Helm charts in the versions. So one error that showed up, which was in notes.txt, we had a null pointer interface. There were some edits that went into some changes that went in when the etcd and Kafka version problem was an issue before. The port version for etcd was removed from what is it, values.xml. It ends up that value is actually used by the Volta infra repo that we pull into Volta Helm charts. So that value will have to be re-added to fix this problem. There is one other lingering problem that needs to be sorted out that I'm not sure about right now. But when you make Helm chart changes and check them in, Jenkins will normally run some jobs to sanity check the contents. After the pull request has been merged into master, a second Jenkins job actually gets triggered. And when that job runs, there's additional a lint check that's performed after the fact, which was, it's kind of a bad failure mode because you put the changes in, you do your code reviews, it gets merged into master, and you still have potential to fail after the fact. So I've updated the make file in the Volta lint or the Volta Helm charts repository to be able to run the same linting check that was being run by Jenkins as a commit hook. And that's where this is showing up right now. So the error is showing, reporting that can't get a valid version for repositories, these guys. There are actually version strings in the file in chart YAML. They are not dev versions, so it's a little strange that that's failing right now, but that's something else I got to look at. Okay, so yeah, that's those two failures. That's going to be in progress today. Let me see. So we had a problem last week with the EC2 Jenkins nodes blocking overnight. We had some jobs sitting in the queue for a very long time. If David is on right now, if DAF is on, maybe you can talk about the what he's found. DAF had looked into some of the overnight problems, and I think he made some progress on that. Let me see, is David on? I guess not. So there's, let me see, I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a timeout delay in the Jenkins configuration that was, we had 600 seconds that we added in as like an extended period to try and give the EC2 nodes more time to come online. We found out after the fact that what was happening with that delay being added is the EC2 node, the heartbeat and the allocation would start up. The node would get to a point where it might be usable, and then it would wait an additional 600 seconds on top of the original one. That actually seemed to be causing problems, so we ended up removing the extra delay added. There's something going on with the Jenkins, but it seems to get stuck a lot less since that setting has been removed. And David's still looking at some of the other problems that were around that. Okay, so let's see, for agenda items. Denise had a request for people to go back through the release blog that was written up, so just pointing that out again.
Have there been updates then to the release notes that I should go back and double check myself?
At this point, no. Most of the changes that have been put in have just been when we do a component release, I'm going into the release page and just updating the version string. There's not really any content changes going in right now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to schedule Technar close on or around January 31st to talk about the release and CI/CD and all that fun stuff. And Mahir and I will be doing the presenting. If Mahir's on, yes.
Usually we try and give about a week's notice before Technar. So depending on when the release actually goes out, we may need to slip that date.
Okay.
So we have January 31st reserved, but if we need to slip it out, we can certainly do that and look at a new date.
Okay. I don't know if Mahir is on, but if he is, if he'd like to talk about what he plans to present on, or if anybody has any questions or requests, we can add them in.
Yeah, I'm here, Joy.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the, generally technically VOLTA architecture and SIVA architecture and the things we've done in the release and our backlog. And it's also, we want to, go through CI/CD systems and show people how we are doing tests and what's our test setup, where are our tests, etc. So this kind of thing. That is about the time. I mean, after the 3rd of the Feb, I'll be out of city for 2 weeks, and I'll be in Turkey. So it may be difficult for me to join the Tekinler in this time frame from 3rd of the February to 20th of the February. For your information. So if we need to rearrange the time, this probably should be after the 20th of the February.
Okay. Okay, thanks for the heads up on that.
So not 28th, 20th.
20th, okay. Okay, good. Let me see. And just some past review items or past agenda items from last week. Was the request to review the on-demand ONT alarms and the VOLTHA error cases. If anybody would like to talk about them, feel free. Or if there have been any updates or people have input on them. Okay, and the last item was a question that came in from Torsten about the 2.8 Jenkins jobs. These were the regression tests and the test jobs. So we had a problem with the Kale program a while back. A script Go downloader that was being used to retrieve the binaries had been deprecated. So we went for a period of time. I think Torsten might have found this, that we did not have the Kale program available to be able to, I think it's, there was something with the Helm charts. Well, anyway, we found a workaround for the problem. It ended up there was a copy of the original script online, and we worked that into the system. Part of the problem from some conversations that were going on in channel this morning, the 2.8 release looks like some of the jobs are failing because the Kale program is not available to the BBSIM test jobs. So how to proceed with test and pipeline jobs for 2.8? The longer term answer is the 2.8 jobs will actually be going away after the 2.11 release. They'll be replaced by a fresh set of LTS jobs for the 2.11 release. So we'll have the test for the LTS version going forward. If there's a need to run some of the 2.8 BBSIM regression tests, we can look into backporting the makefile Kale fixes that went into for 2.11 and onto master. We can look at backporting them into 2.8, and that should fix the test failure. Heads up, this is actually one reason why I really do not like to make invasive changes in the infrastructure right around release time, because problems like this end up showing up. But Kale was missing, so we were going to have the problem either way. So does that answer your question, Torsten? Or does anybody have questions?
For me, it's okay, but we should set up the new LTS release first and the new pipelines before we remove
the old ones.
2.8.
Okay.
Maybe we can copy some things or look how we can solve problems.
Chances are we'll probably retain the 2.8 jobs for a little while because there's some conditionals and some special code that will probably need to be brought into the 2.11 branches so they behave the same way. But yeah, we're not going to remove that without, knowing they're in a good state. Okay.
Okay, I will keep them disabled. The most jobs I disabled today because they don't running.
Okay.
And I think it's okay so.
Do we need to have the 2.8 jobs functional right now, the BBSIM jobs? Because the fix to get Kale working is not that bad. It's just a make file edit and a script addition.
It's not only the BBSIM jobs, also community pod jobs will failing because they need the Kale too.
All right. All right, I'll take a quick look and see if we can get that in there, then get those fixed. Okay. I guess we can open up the floor if anybody has anything else they'd like to cover, or if there's any questions, or pretty much whatever you want to talk about.
Amit, I have a question to you regarding this document, VOLTHA error case document from Abhilash. Can you say something about the motivation of this and also about the priority? What is priority regarding the fixing these cases listed there?
Yeah, sure, Olga. So the background is that we feel that there are certain situations where the error handling can be better. And this document is trying to identify those gaps and trying to propose solutions for that. Regarding priority, I would say that it is pretty high, right? Because you would want these gaps to be fixed because you never know which of these occur in a production environment.
Yeah, do you have already colleagues in your scope who should mainly deal with it, or is it not clear yet? Who will care about it?
Yeah, so I think Abhilash is working on this, right? And he hasn't come up with the first version of this. And I think from the community's perspective, I think folks whoever can spend some time on it should try to review the situations that he is bringing forth, and if indeed we are aligned with his thoughts that yes, they need a fix, right? And if the solutions that he is proposing, right, seem to be appropriate. So anyone who can spend time on that and review it, I think that should be good. From an implementation perspective, I would think once we have agreeable solutions, right, to the problems that he is bringing out there, it can be dealt individually, right? We don't have to fix all of them in one go and make one huge commit, right? But we could do them incrementally. And also we have to identify how do we test those changes, right? So how do we know if the change is really having an effect or not, and rather not having a negative effect? So I think that is something that we need to figure out.
Okay, thanks. And another thing, do you have some? I know we are open source here; everybody can commit to everything. But do you have already somebody who's more or less having a deeper look into the OLT, open OLT adapter, or is it not possible to name somebody? Because I'm currently working on ONU adapter issues where I have overlapping questions, which has to be clarified with the OLT adapter guys. Can you recommend somebody, or is it not so that you have named guys who care about this specifically?
So it would
Uh,
again be. Oh, okay. Abhilash is there.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah,
Abhilash.
sorry, okay, yeah, yeah, Olga, I can sync up with you on the OpenOLT adapter. All the solutions and design I've already done for OpenOLT adapter. So the OpenOI new adapter, we have it locally. So I was working on it. So probably I can put out everything on the Google Doc page. So it's not updated yet with the OpenOI new adapter issues. So I can update it there right now in an hour maybe. So then later we together can work on the solution for that.
Okay, that means you would also be the partner to communicate for concrete implementations on, yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because I also unfortunately I have also some issues with gRPC I have to clarify, but I think Kenaidu is no longer in the community. I don't think so, no, isn't he? Okay,
No, so
probably
Ken is not active.
yeah.
As
Okay,
of
then
now, yeah.
Abhilash, I will address all the stuff I have to clarify regarding OpenOLT adapter with you, right?
Yes.
I will contact you, yeah? Okay,
Yeah, correct, yeah.
thank you.
And just to update, we have started making changes to the core by removing the Go routines, which of course we had to do. So we ran a few scale tests. The numbers don't change at all. So I've seen like there are more or less the same. So there is no impact on having the Go routine or not having the Go routine.
Okay. See.
Yeah. So that was one major concern, I think. So in
Yeah,
the last call. So yeah. We don't see any performance impact by removing the Go.
Okay, good news. Thanks.
Yeah. I'll share it once we have concrete evidence. But this was on the first 2 runs what we have done. So we'll take an average of 5 to 10 runs with more scale. Probably I'll share the data.
Mm-hmm.
Helps when you go off mute. Okay, I guess, are there any other topics anybody would like to bring up?
I think so. I joined late. I think so. Amit covered from my side. Thanks, Amit.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's a wrap for this week. And we'll see everybody next week then. Okay, thanks.
Thanks all. Take it easy, Joey.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Thanks
Bye.
all. Bye bye.
Yep.